It is tag time. It's time for another book tag. I'm here with another book tag. I know that you saw that title, you saw end of the year, and you felt a little bit of a panic. Don't worry, this is a little bit early, but not. It'll make sense once you see the questions. Hear the questions? Once you see the questions. Because there are sort of autumnal themed questions in there, so don't worry. So let's just get right into it. Number one, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Other than what I'm currently reading, no? Maybe this one, Reading Like a Writer. I've got a bookmark in it, but I've not actually marked it on Storygraph that I've started it because it's just tentatively floating on my shelf. Kind of like the other writing related books. Part of that is because I'm really close to finishing my first draft of the book that I'm currently writing. So I don't think I need more advice at the moment. I need to just get that finished. But yeah, other than that, I'm a lot better than I used to be at either making sure I finish a book or I make the active decision to put it down or DNF it. I've had a couple of DNFs this year, mostly from the really long-term shelf, because I like YA books that I didn't realise were YA and I've had for years. I thought I'd best give them a try. It's not the case with everything, but that's been the case with a couple. So yeah, I've done pretty well. These are on my currently reading shelf. But I'm getting through them, so yeah, I'm good. So yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good. Number two, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? I think I've already done the best books for this. As soon as we got to the end of September, the weather completely turned here in the UK, and Babel was there. Babel was ready. So I started reading this in the last week or two of September, and it was absolutely perfect. Lots of scenery involving rain and English, and the English city is Oxford's a city, right? Yeah. So even though it covers events across multiple years, it's very autumnal, I think. And then on top of that, I've done Perdido Street Station, which I've mentioned a few times now. That's great for the autumn because it's this city setting, and it's kind of grimy and grotty. And The Alloy of Law, is that autumnal? Am I mixing steampunk with autumn? But yeah, I think Babel was probably the best one for that. Definitely helped set the mood. 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? No, I don't think so. I mean, as I keep saying, I'm trying to catch up on a bunch of fantasy books. The only writer that I was looking forward to was Miyako Kawakami, but that came out in the summer, so whatever her next book is, but that's not going to be this year. Oh, you know what, Lady Joker Volume 2, I still don't know what is going on with that. Last I looked, it was supposed to be out in August, but it's one of those things where Waterstones and other places just have a placeholder date, and then they just keep pushing it back. So I have no idea if that will be out this year or not. I'd like it to be. I mean, I don't really have time for it because the first volume was quite chunky, but it'd be nice to actually finish what is essentially one big book. So Lady Joker, if it does actually appear. Otherwise, I'm all good. What are the 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So, I definitely want to reread Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Like, I've been wanting to reread it for ages, and it's a great wintry book. Like, the first scene features a lot of snow, which is really nice, and it's very magical. So I've got that penned in for like December. I don't know if I will finish it before the end of the year though. It might fall into January, because that's sort of what happened with Empire of the Vampire. So we'll see. But we're basically looking at that fantasy stack that I keep showing off. So books that could be in this category, I keep just changing my mind about which one I want to do first, but it is Grace of Kings, Shadow of the Gods, Rage of Dragons, and The Shadow of What Was Lost. Any of those can be a contender. Oh, and I will probably end up finishing Mistborn Era 2 because they're pretty short books and easy to get through. So I might just bosh them out, and then maybe tag on the new book that's out. Very exciting. 5. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favourite book of the year? I don't know. It really depends because I feel like I've settled in now. I've got my eye on the fantasy books. And I feel like the surprises tend to come from somewhere else. I think... Is that true though? Yeah, I think the only other potential answer is if I pull in, say, like one of my smaller sci-fis. Like this is sort of hovering around, so if I choose to do that, that might be a surprise. And this one, because it was like a crowd-funded backed book, so this might surprise me. Not that sounds bad. It sounds like I'm expecting it to not be great. I'm actually expecting it to be pretty good. So I guess that doesn't count, does it? This one's a really hard question. It's the shock factor. Could still shock me. What could still shock me? I mean, June can't shock me at this point. I don't know if I'll read God Emperor before the end of the year. Let's say Shadow of What Was Lost. I'm going to put that in the shock category because I have no idea what that book is about, but I've heard various good things and I am very interested. There we go. I'll pick that one. 6. Have you already started making plans for next year? Yes. So, next year I've got my eye on starting. I don't know how many you can see. But I've got plans to start on the Russian classics. So like Crime and Punishment is at the top. Master and Margarita. And maybe Anna Karenina. They would be good to get through next year. I know I did all of the Japan collection this year, but this one includes War and Peace, so this is going to be a lot of work to get through, and I'll probably be working again next year, so I don't know what my time will be like. So I'm just going to have my goal of starting the collection and finishing maybe 2 of the books. But they've sat there for most of this year. I knew I wasn't going to get to them this year, but they were always in the plan for next year. Other books that I'm thinking of for next year might be Malazan. Might be time to start again. So the there's been a couple of things stopping me from just I've been so tempted to just start and just bring them in. But the thing stopping me is that I was having a go at the Wheel of Time. I did the first two, and I've just not got round to the third one. And the third one was going to be me saying, right, this is the series' last chance to pull me in. Because I think some people say that the third is when it really starts to pick up. But at the moment, I really can't be bothered. So who knows? I might do it. I might not. I really feel like I should though. So I didn't want to take on another huge series while that was still kind of in the background. But I think next year is the time. I'm gonna start again. I've actually read the first book twice, and the second book once, because I read the first book years and years ago, and I found it really complicated. And I tried the second and gave up. And then a few years later, and I was like, right, I'm geared up. I'm going to try again, but I'm going to reread the first book. So I reread the first book, then read the second, and it was a slog. And then stopped there again. But I feel like I'm a more experienced writer now, and hopefully that will help me get through them, because I know there's fantastic writing in them. There's still scenes that like stuck in my head. Like I remember it might even be part of like the back description, or it might be a quote at the start, but it's the thing about this guy shuffling past a crowd covered in flies, and there's like descriptions of like these balls of flies falling off him, and like it's just amazing writing. So yeah, and I've owned like 5 or 6 of them since I was like 22 or something, so well over 10 years. So I really need to get on it and read these damn books. So yeah, Malazan next year. Is there anything else? No, I think they're the big ones. Russian Collection, Malazan. I just had so much that I wanted to get through this year that I just wasn't even going to touch them yet. And I think they'll do. Yeah, we were out of questions. That was good. That's some fun questions. I've got 2 months left. Wow. So I think I can squeeze in like 8 to 10 books. I think I average a bit more than 1 book a week. So that's what I'm looking at. So I should be able to get through. Oh, I've thought some other ones for next year. I never went back to Dresden Files or Murderbot. I was going to read Murderbot on holiday and I just had no time. So Dresden Files and Murderbot, they're going to sneak in at some point. Might be before the end of this year, might be next. Don't know. But I will be going back to them. Okay, that's it. I think we're all done. We're all good. If you've done this tag, or if you're thinking of doing the tag, let me know. Or feel free to answer the questions yourself in the comments so I can know what you're going to be up to and what you've been up to. What have you been up to? Are you alright? You good? Right, okay. Time for me to end this. Thank you for watching. I've been Emma, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!